Still setting one thing up. Oh gosh.
The guy who was just in here trying to make the Spock sign with his one hand couldn't do it. He could do it with the other hand, and I was like, "Boxer man?" He's like, "How'd you know?"
Tried to make a what?
Try to make the Spock live long and prosper.
Oh. You asked him if he was a boxer?
Yeah, all it. Just the mannerisms and everything.
Yeah. Hang on, one more thing. Bloop, 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 bloop. 5. Just live comic reviews.
Yeah.
For the week of 9/8. 9/8. Is it the 8th? Oh shit! Tomorrow's my mom's birthday. Take my phone. I don't know what that meant. Okay, I'm gonna be taking the mask off so that the deaf community can read my lips because I can't sign fast enough. So yeah, if you're wondering why I'm not wearing a mask, but Yogi is, that's why. Normally we encourage people to wear masks, but I have to make that perfectly clear. And no doubt I will say that 3 or 4 times as people walk into our store, but it is what it's got. It is. That's the way it's got to be. We have news this week, right? Do we have news? What news do we have?
Thursday.
Oh yeah, Thursday is a huge deal. I'm messing this up clearly. Okay, so Thursday we have actor Dominic Pace, who played the character Gecko on The Mandalorian, and he's going to be signing books. And wow, okay, crazy microphone. He's going to be signing books and have replica items from the TV show for sale, to include the Bounty Puck, Beskin Steel, which I'm probably going to get Beskin Steel. Oh, and Shale Hammond wants to order one.
Okay.
I forgot, but we need to put the price into her thing and let her pay for it, and then we'll get it for her and hold it for her. Okay?
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
We can do that.
We can do that. So yeah, that's happening Thursday, and also I got to play the new Avengers game. If you want to see the most frustrated video I've ever put on Twitch, go to our Green Machine Comics at Twitch page, and that game's horrible. It's horrible, and nobody should waste money on it. Don't spend a nickel on that game. First of all, there's a couple things. The controls are wonky as hell. If you're playing melee characters, it's okay. Like playing Kamala Khan and Hulk, like felt right. Any character that's not melee that has some sort of a ranged attack it's horrible. You can't lock onto what you need to lock onto. It doesn't play right. Also, the whole game is a cash grab. I grinded for I don't know how many hours and wasn't anywhere near close to getting like one of the costumes that you can buy. But if I was willing to spend money, oh Lord, there is like 30 different costumes to include like 5 Joe Fixits. Which is nice. It's nice, but you're probably not getting them unless you're going to grind hundreds of hours for one, or pay your dime. It's a cash grab. The controls aren't good, and I know that they planned on this being like a 5-year game or something, and maybe it will improve. But you should not waste your money on Marvel's Avengers right now. Don't do it. That's all I'm going to say on that, and we're going to get to the comic reviews. Do we have any other news? Not that I can think of. Okay. Comic reviews. We're going to start with Usagi Yojimbo Color Classics. I'm super excited about this issue in particular because if you can't tell, that's Lord Noriyuki and Tomoe. And basically, he is like a small lord that Usagi discovers, who he's basically trying to get back to his land without being killed by Lord Hajiki, who has sort of led him into a trap. And Usagi winds up helping him across the land. And it's really pivotal. It sets the stage for a lot of these characters for years to come. Also, this one lord in particular tries to make Usagi a vassal several times over. And Usagi just refuses because he serves Lord Mifune, even in death. But so it sets the stage for that. It also is like the first appearance of the true Nico Ninja in the Usagi series. Super important issue. Really nice to see it in color. I didn't realize that I wanted this as much as I did until I read it. Oh God, it was so good. In fact, I would say that this story in particular is probably one of the most pivotal. The only thing that I'm looking forward to more than this would be Grass Cutter, if we ever wind up near Grass Cutter, but we'll have to wait and see. It's so good. It's so good. So definitely don't skip on this issue. If you've never read Usagi before, start with this, because this is honestly the first time he gets named Yojimbo, which is awesome. So yeah, come pick that up. Next is TMNT. Issue number 109. Yogi, I have a problem, a huge problem. The problem comes in the form of customers coming in and asking when the TMNT Ronin series is coming. And every single time I say, the stuff on the shelf right now has Eastman involved in it, and it's all really, really good. I would say it rivals the OG like series with Laird and Eastman. And everybody always looks at me like I have a dong growing out of my head. Like I'm always like, what? Do you not understand that this stuff's really, really cool right now? So, oh man, there's so much good stuff in this new series, and all these people, all they want is the TMNT Ronin series. But like, why wait? Why wait? I wanted to, but I don't understand why you would wait. Like, just get it now. It's great. Anyway, so this picks up with, we're going to see a new role for Mikey. Mikey is going to be a Mutant Town's first radio DJ. So it's pretty cool. Like, yeah, they're doing different stuff that's never been done in the TMNT world. So I'm having a good time with it. And we'll have this issue. I don't think it's super pivotal. It's turned into a Mutant Town story, which is, in my opinion, amazing. I'm having such a good time with this storyline. So yeah, come pick that up. Next is Zorro, Galleon of the Dead, issue number 1. And wow, I had a good time with this issue. I mean, this is some good Zorro stuff, but the art was great. I didn't expect it to be that good because I don't know, man. Like, sometimes I pick these up and I'm always kind of on the fence about the art because it is an older style often. But this issue in particular is great. It centers around, well, obviously Zorro's going to fight zombies. And one of them on the cover happens to be a luchador, which is awesome in my opinion. This feels like early Saturday morning, like old school black and white Zorro, but with modern themes. It's great. So if you like Zorro, trust me, come and get it. Was it Saturday or Sunday they played Zorro? I think it was Sunday.
I don't remember because we used to watch it on Disney.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because see, I would get up and I would watch. I remember like early Saturday morning was like they had this show called Buster and Me, which was these annoying puppets, and I hated that show. And I had to sit through it to get to Ultraman, and then the cartoons would start after Ultraman. And I think Sunday was if I was lucky I could catch Godzilla on one of the channels, and then there was always like a Zorro TV show, and then there was always like the knockoff, like the cartoons you really didn't care about.
These shows by like literal years, man.
Ah, man. Next is an issue that I don't know, man. This might be one of my picks of the week. In fact, yeah, I'm going to say it's my pick of the week. This is Fantastic Four Empire Fallout. This picks up on the moon. And, we've had the Katati on the moon. We've had, we've got both the Kree and the Skrull Empire hanging out on the moon now. We've got that other sort of offshoot species from the Katati. You know who else is on the moon, though, that hasn't been touched in a while? The Man on the Wall. The fill-in for the Watcher. So it's the Unseen is what he's calling himself these days. But he's got the Watcher's eye, and he's up there sort of watching everything that's going on. And it might lead to a reemergence of an old character, which if you don't understand what I mentioned, you could probably pick up what it is. It was awesome. This whole issue was awesome. I mean, it's pretty much an after war. So like everybody's sort of celebrating and discussing, and it's like an AAR, an after action review in the military is what it feels like. But it's kind of, was kind of a fun scene, and then something big happens, something big that might change all of the Marvel universe. So yeah, come check this out. It's awesome, and I don't know if it's my pick of the week, but it should be. I do also got to tell you guys that Marauders, I'm not reviewing this week for whatever reason. We got shorted, so only 2 of our subscribers are going to get those books. So Marauders is going to go to our subscribers. I know. Kitty Pryde is back from the dead, and I was super excited to see it as well. But I won't be reading it until we get those replacements in. So I'm sorry, I'm suffering alongside the few subscribers that won't be getting their copies this week. Man, I got the hiccups. Next is Williams Beldion Silva, and this is issue number 3 of X Factor Krakoa PD. Is that what are they going to be, the Krakoa Police Department? Is that what X Factor is going to be?
Is that what's going on?
It's just they have like a detective novel on the cover, but even though the cover shows that, it's quite a bit different because what they're doing is they're going into Mojoverse, or the Mojo world, which is Mojoverse now, to investigate somebody's death, one of the mutants' deaths. Meanwhile, they're coming to find out that the whole world is centered around like blood sports and live streaming, and yeah. So it's 2 parts fun, 1 part cringe is what you're gonna get with this book. Yeah, but it was still a pretty good time. I had a good time with it. You get to see God, I always mess up his name. Draken? No. Draken? Wolverine's kid.
Oh, Dakin.
Dakin.
Yeah.
God, I can never pronounce his name. Watching him come up short with a woman is always funny. That's always funny. So you get that in this issue. Next is Thompson Smith, D. Benedetto, and Bonvillian. Bonvillian. I can't talk today. Issue number 21 of Captain Marvel, and we all knew it was coming. We saw Captain Marvel become Ronan the Accuser, or become the Accuser, Captain Marvel the Accuser. For all of Empire, of course she wasn't going to keep that moniker. And then lo and behold, she had a surprise sibling just appear. I wonder where that hammer's gonna go. Who can say? Well, that's what you get in this issue. It's still good. I mean, I had a good time with it. But you know, anytime there's Captain Marvel and War Machine and doing something together, I have a pretty good time with it. So yeah, this issue in particular, it was fun. I had a good time, even though I saw it coming, and I'm sure most of you did too. So yeah, but it'll be here. Come pick it up. Next is a cover I'm in love with because I love everything this artist does. Of course, we're talking about the Willow miniseries offshoot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is Mariko Tamaki, Natasha Bustos, and Eleonora Bruni. And the cover is done by who? Jen Bartel. I love this cover. Oh man, it's a rave in my eyes. I love it. But Willow has stumbled onto a witch town, and she's terribly concerned that she might be part of a cult. Because if you find a town that's filled with a bunch of like-minded people like you that are urging you to join them, it's probably a cult. But so she's trying to get to the bottom of that, and you know, is at the same time partially happy that she's found a bunch of witches, because she's sort of found some people that she shares stuff in common with. This series is great. It is a slow burn, I will tell you that. There are some mysterious stuff going on, and it's kind of interesting. But if you like action, or you're waiting for Willow to belt out with a bunch of magic, that doesn't quite happen just yet. It's definitely a slow burn, but I'm super intrigued by it. I am not bored one bit, but I am kind of a Buffy fan, like a giant Buffy fan. I've rewatched that series like I don't know how many times. So anyways, this issue, all these Willow covers are being done by Jen Bartel, so I'm probably going to collect all the A covers without a doubt. But we'll have this here. It's pretty good. They do explain like some of Willow's magic as she's like casting it and what it feels like, and I thought it was a really eloquent description. I had a good time with that. Next is X-Force. This is Benjamin Percy, Bazaldua, and Guru Effects. And This issue is amazing. This is building towards X of Swords. We're going to find out what the sword is in this issue in particular. But more importantly, I had a good time with this issue because they have to go at one point arrest Colossus, which sort of pisses off Wolverine. I mean, he's all for it. He's like, okay, we'll bring him in for questioning. You know, could you wear these Krakoa handcuffs, even though I know you can shred them and stuff like that? And they go to take him through. And when they take him through, it turns out like all of the mutants are gathered on the other side because Beast said there was going to be like a trial. So like all of Krakoa is there, and Beast is like, whoa, he needs to be tried. And Wolverine's like, you son of a bitch. And just belts Beast and then goes running after everyone with claws out because that's his buddy. And it was so good. That scene alone makes this whole book. So there is a lot to this. There's a lot of moving parts, and it's building up for X of Swords, which I am super excited to see. So you're going to need to get this issue if you're going to be on board with the X of Swords stuff. But believe me, I didn't spoil everything in the least. It's just hard to talk about something without touching on little things like that. Next is Hind, Haberlin, and Van Dyke. And of course, I'm talking about The Marked, which the artwork for this series is mind-blowing. Like, really good. It centers around a bunch of wizards, or I guess wizardesses, sorceresses, that have magic tattoos, and the tattoos let them tap into certain power. And they've got an assistant named Lovecraft. And as it turns out, he's actually H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah. So that's weird. I hope he left all that racism behind him. Anyways, I have loved The Mark. I have had a really good time with this series. It pulls no punches. It's very the dialogue is very raw. The storyline is super interesting. The art is mind blowing. It is candy for your eyes, without a doubt. Like I just can't get over like how things look in this series. Like it's just super cool looking the way they draw. How do you have this much talent in like just a couple people? It's wild. Anyways, so this is issue number 7. We will have it on our shelves. Come pick it up. It's amazing. Next is Cyberpunk 2077, and this centers around Trauma Team, which is like, it feels like Judge Dredd. Like their Trauma Team, they patch people up, but they also fight back and stuff like that, is what I'm gathering. I know nothing about this from the Cyberpunk universe. This story itself, though, I mean, it feels like Judge Dredd dealing with some amped up cyborg. That's what I describe this story as, which granted, it's a prequel to a video game, so, you know, that this is sort of what you expect. You expect them to sort of reference some of other source material, and that's what it does. I didn't have a bad time with it. The Cyberpunk here, though, is definitely the 80s style Cyberpunk, heavy on the pink and blues, and I have zero complaints about that because that's probably my favorite instance of Cyberpunk. So that's all here, and it's pretty good. If you're waiting for the video game and you want like a amazing story to kick it into high gear before the video game, this probably isn't it. This is just pretty good, I'd say. But no complaints here, and we'll have it on our shelf if you want to. Always got to get a call in the middle of the stream. Next is issue number 1. Oh, we were just talking about this. Issue number 1, Higgins, Groom, Mana, Grundetjern, Gurihiru, and Cho. And of course, this is the Ultraman, the Rise of Ultraman. And so we were just talking about this, and I think I said that this was one of the first shows I would watch on Saturday morning, and I love Ultraman. I mean, this stuff came before Power Rangers, but in a lot of ways set the stage for it. And I love Ultraman so much. But then again, I like giant monsters fighting stuff. It's kind of my jam. So anyways, what do you get from this particular issue? Well, you do get an origin of an Ultraman, and it seems like a pretty good starting place. It's different from the original origin of Ultraman, I will say that. On top of that, you get like 3 other stories which feel like miniseries episodes that aren't really connected. At least not yet, and it's not clear how they're going to be connected, but you do get a couple other stories. This is a rather thick comic for number one. This is $5.99 though, so you're paying at least $1 uptick. The art was amazing. It was great art. The action, not enough of it. I mean, it is a number one, but usually I like my number ones to come out swinging to really hook me. This one was so-so. But it's building to something big, and I don't think the Ultraman brand is going to have any trouble selling itself on its brand. It's everyone who grew up with Ultraman loves Ultraman, and you know what to expect. So it'll be here. Come pick it up. Next is Kate's Villanova and White, and of course, not of course, because this is the first, but well, not the first Web of Venom, but the build-up for Null is what I mean. This is Web of Venom Wrath. And if you are waiting for the King in Red, was it the King in Red or the King in Black? The King in Black. King in Black. If you were waiting for the King in Black, you need to pick up this issue. Like, absolutely needs to pick up this issue. This centers around Wraith. Did I say Wrath? This centers around Wraith. I'm tired. And Wraith as a character is, well, he's a pretty weird character, I will say that, but he is tied to Null, and they've sort of explained it in this issue. On top of that, there is another character coming into play. So this is awesome. It is awesome. It is exactly the kind of gritty sci-fi I tend to like, and it ties it into Null, which is pretty exciting, and it's a preface to that King in Black stuff. So it was amazing. It's great. But again, it's weird. I'm holding a Donny Cates book and saying it's great. That never happens, right? That's sarcasm. It always happens. Every Donny Cates book I put my hands on is amazing, and this is no different. But you're going to want this if you're getting into the King in Black stuff. If you're a Venom fan, you're going to want this, and we only have so many, so come pick it up. Next is Mars Attacks Red Sonja, issue number 2, and, well, there's Red Sonja's butt on the cover. Well, it's Mars Attacks in Hyperborean, in Red Sonja's planet, Conan's planet, that area. So it's Mars Attacks there, and the Mars Attacks, the aliens are teaching their younglings that there were these terrible people who invaded Mars and destroyed all of the Martians, called Earthlings, the big boogeyman, and that never happened. It's quite the opposite with the Mars Attacks universe. So this is basically a bunch of Martians from the Mars Attacks universe wound up in another realm, and that's the Conan realm with Red Sonja and Conan. There's no Conan yet, though, I will say that. But it's a pretty good issue. I had a good time with it. It's gimmicky, but if you like a little gimmick in your comics, can't complain. Oh, I forgot, since we're talking about a little gimmick in your comics, the first time that Gru the Wanderer appeared in a Usagi comic is that Color Classics. So you're owning a piece of history, because he wanders through every so often, and it's just Stan Sakai saying, I'm a Gru the Wanderer fan. So yeah. Rambling, backtrack like 10 books, sorry. Next is Saladin Ahmed. Minkyu Jung and Ian Herring, and we're talking about, does your senator support the Kamala law? Contact Cradle to find out more. We're talking about Miss Marvel, and oh my god, she's been in a coma. They've enacted an act in her name to sort of stop teenage vigilanteism, and now in this issue she might be waking up, and she might have a bone to pick with people using her name for something that doesn't reflect her. So this is how Miss Marvel book's supposed to feel, and we're getting ready for a big fight on our hands, and I can't wait. I'm excited about this outlawed stuff, dude. Like, super excited. It seems like they slow burned it because they were like, well, we're trying not to give people more event fatigue, so let's just dial this back a little bit, not make it a full event, and slow burn it a little bit. So we're building towards it, but it feels right. I'm excited. Another thing, too, about that the Avengers game, the Marvel's Avengers game, I was watching Twitch, and there was somebody who was like, why do I have to play this teenage girl? I don't care about this character. And I was like, you're playing Kamala Khan. That's Miss Marvel. Like, all annoyed that I was like screaming at my laptop at the time. Man, that game sucks though. If you do play that game, I recommend the melee characters because again, the Hulk and Kamala felt pretty good. Although Hulk didn't feel like a walking nuclear bomb, which is what I want my Hulk to feel like. Do you remember there was like a PlayStation 2 game that was like the Incredible Hulk? There was a preface to the Spider-Man games that were awesome.
Really?
Yeah, you're just like roaming around, like destroying like that one felt right. But anyway, so we're digressing. Anyways, Miss Marvel is awesome. This is a great issue. Come pick it up. Plus, you got to get on board with that outlawed stuff because it's good so far. Next is Bill and Ted Are Doomed, issue number 1. This is Evan Dorkin and Roger Langridge. And if you can't tell, this is the cast from the Bill and Ted's number 2. Bogus Journey? It was Bogus Journey, right? Bogus Journey. I actually watched Bill and Ted's number 3, and I can confidently say this is the prequel to number 3. And it shows everything that went wrong between 2 and 3. So it's cool. I had a good time with this comic, and I had a good time with the movie. But I will say that the movie wasn't great. It was just good. But it wraps it up in a very Bill and Ted way, which is, what I'm going to say. What's up, Alex? And what's up, Andre? Sorry, guys. Didn't say hi at the time. It wraps it up in a very Bill and Ted way. So you just have to watch it and find out. But this is pretty good. The art was kind of on the fence at times about it. The art's all right. Actually, I take it back. The art is pretty good. The stories we know what's going to happen, or at least I know what's going to happen because I saw Bill and Ted 3. Maybe Yogi hasn't seen it yet, doesn't know what's going to happen, would probably be a bit more invested in this comic. So, yeah, it'll be here. Come pick it up. Next is Seeley, Howard and Howard, Promanik, Gooden, and Duke, and Ondworld. Okay, ANDWRLD, Ondworld. This is Vampire the Masquerade, Winter's Teeth. Oh, how I love Vampire the Masquerade stuff. And this is just awesome. Last issue we saw, there was a Bruja that was kind of serving a prince as, the muscle for the prince. And meanwhile, stumbled onto a thin blood caitiff, or at least I think she's thin blood. We haven't really determined if she's got a clan. I don't think she does. Who is turned and didn't realize what she was and is sort of taken, the Bruja takes her under her wing and takes her to the prince to speak on her behalf of the prince, which is a dangerous scenario in Vampire the Masquerade. It's a scenario that happens very often and usually results in whoever the newly turned person is being killed. So, that's what we get. We're starting with this, and I'm having such a good time. But I really love Vampire the Masquerade, and I think if you weren't super into the lore or didn't know the lore, the sort of vampire tropes from it, you would probably be fully on board with this because it explains everything, and it's like walking you through day one, just teaching you exactly about the world of darkness, and it's great. I need to collect this whole series. I'm having such a good time with it already. The art is, it's so gritty at times you want to chew your teeth with it. But it feels right for a World of Darkness story. That's the way it should feel. The covers are amazing. The story's really, really good. I'm having a good time with it, and it's weird because we don't buy a lot of Vault comics, do we? Not too many. Not too many, but maybe we should check them out more often. Next is Batman: The Adventure continues. This is Burnett, Dini, Templeton, and Kubina, and this particular issue centers around a good fight between Clayface. And then a good old Deathstroke makes an appearance. So I'm having a good time with this. But again, if you're not into the cartoons, this probably won't be your jam. If you're just into the comics and you're not into the cartoons, you probably won't like this. But I'm having a good time with it. So I just have to tell you that when you pick this up, this isn't like the old 90s cartoons. This is more like the newer ones, but it's still really, really good. So check it out. The art is amazing. It's nothing to complain about. Next is Superhero of the Year, which seems like it would be almost every year since he was the first. one of the first. Extra-sized anniversary issue. What does this new threat want from Superman? And this is a Sinmar. It's a first appearance for a character called Sinmar, which to me looks kind of like Diet Pepsi Atrocitus. That's just how he looks. That's not how the character is. This character was built to be his own planet's version of a Superman. And, that might put him on a collision course with the actual Superman. We're just going to have to wait and see. So it's a first appearance. It's something you should collect. It's just kind of a weird design for a character. I don't know. He's kind of a strange character. You have to check it out and see. He glows in a lot of weird ways. So it's cool. It's just it feels very 90s. He's very sharp and pointy. You'll just have to see what I mean. So anyways, issue 25 of Superman, we've got it. Next is issue number 27. This is Venditti, Passarin, Albert, Von Graubadger, and Cox, and we're talking about Hawkman. Now, I don't review Hawkman all that often because I'm not a Hawkman fan at all. I don't like Hawkman. Carter Hall's kind of boring to me. I mean, it's just never been my jam. And as a DC fan, I know like people are like, well, then what's your problem? You're a DC fan. I don't know. I've never liked Hawkman. This issue in particular, though, I loved because I don't know. I like whenever they do the whole Justice Society throwback stuff. Maybe I don't know what it is. I just like it, and I'm a huge Alan Scott fan because I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, and the OG just hits home for me. And in this issue in particular, we get to see him hit somebody with a train construct, which is all types of messed up. If you know Alan Scott's backstory, that's kind of twisted and cool. So this issue did not disappoint. I had a really good time with this issue, and as someone who is not a Hawkman fan, hi Dale, by the way, I absolutely had a great time with this issue and wanted to know more. I'm gonna see where this goes. I might read another issue of Hawkman. Hell, I might read 3 or 4 just to see where this goes. But yeah, I would recommend this to anyone, which is weird to say. Next is Morrison, Sharp, and Olaf. And, I've been super critical of this series, at least the last season. And this is the new season of season 2 of The Green Lantern by Grant Morrison. Now, it's very weird and surreal because Grant Morrison is very weird and surreal. The guy thinks he's a wizard and looks like Lex Luthor. He's a very, very, very eccentric creator. So I've loved a lot of Grant Morrison stories. So I was super hyped about him picking up Green Lantern. But for me, Jeff Johns is like the end all for Green Lantern. So I've struggled with adapting to Grant Morrison's Green Lantern. Now, I will say this issue in particular was fun. I had a good time with it. And the art, I have been super critical of Sharp. I have not liked his art most of the way through. Most of the issues I picked up and been like, I just, it's not my jam. This issue, I had a pretty good time with it. The art was good. They definitely tapped into some of Jeff Johns' lore, which felt pretty good. So having a good time with this, although I will say some of the liberties that Grant Morrison takes with life and death irks me a bit, and you're going to have to read it and see. I was not the biggest fan with how they handled life and death. Grant Morrison went a little weird if you know how you handle life with the Lantern Corps mythos, you should know what should have happened versus what they chose to do. That's all I'm going to say. The issue is, it was a good issue. I had a good time. I wasn't bored with it. The art, as somebody who is an art snob and is very critical of Sharp's art, had a pretty good time with it. So you can come pick it up if you're a Green Lantern Corps fan. Anyone else, I don't think you should jump into the Green Lantern mythos with that run. Next is Joker War, Collateral Damage, issue number 74 of Nightwing. Now, we know that poor old Dick Grayson became Rick Grayson because he was brainwashed by a psychiatrist with a magic crystal. That's on the cover. And then the Joker got a hold of that magic crystal, which turned Dick Grayson into Dickie Boy. That was his name. I hate that name. Anyways, and he was sort of taking out vengeance on the Bat family, not being himself, and that's what you get here. More importantly, what do you get in this? You get a fight between my man Red Hood and Nightwing at one point in this, and that alone is worth the cost of admission. That's amazing. But we're gonna finally see a wrap up to old Dick Grayson's storyline and how he'd been injured and everything that's happened since KG Beast. We're gonna finally see that wrap up in this issue. So it's super pivotal. But also, if you're reading this Joker War stuff, you probably can't get enough of it. So I imagine you're going to be fully on board with this. Don't skip this issue if you are. Next is Dark Knight's Death Metal. This is Snyder, Manapul, and Herring. Wow, what a team. And this is the Trinity Crisis. Well, we found out that Perpetua, the one of the original creators of the universe, who's trying to destroy this universe and bring it back in her own image, teamed up with the Batman Who Laughs, and they've been using three worlds in the Dark Multiverse, which are not being destroyed, but they're tapping for their crisis energy. We find out which crisis worlds those are in this issue. Also, we get to see Batman design something he calls, it's not a mother box, it's a father box, technically, but it's called the Alfred box, which is a pretty good tribute and kind of a cool artifact. I thought it was a cool tribute, but I said it to Yogi and he just kind of cringed. So the Batman fanboy in me is screaming because I'm having so much fun with this stuff. And this Trinity Crisis issue in particular was really, really good. I will say that for those of you that are a fan of the new Robin King, you will get him in this issue, so go pick it up. It's pretty good. There's a lot of action, to the point where it almost gets confusing at one point. You'll see what I mean. But there is a lot of action. So if you really, really like action, you'll probably love this issue. We get to see a lot of stuff happen. So yeah, come pick it up. Next is The Flash. 761. This is Williamson, Porter, and High Five, and I have had a really good time with like the last 4 or 5 Flash issues. The Legion of Zoom sort of got wrapped up, but we were still seeing Eobard Thawne be a complete jerk, and that's what's been happening. Barry's timeline is being threatened. Oh no, it must be a day ending in Y. So that's what's going on right now. But we get to see a lot of speedsters and other characters come back in this issue. It was pretty good. As somebody who's been like on board with Flash since the beginning of the Rebirth run, this issue in particular felt really fun and proper and did wrap up a lot of stuff. So yeah, come pick it up. It's good. It's good. Next is a first appearance for, well, it's not technically a first appearance. They sort of appeared last issue, but they didn't like take on their name moniker, which is generally when we consider them a first appearance. This is Wonder Woman number 762, Tamaki, Barberi, Santorelli, and Sanchez. And this is, well, the character's name is Liar Liar. That's a stupid name. The character itself has the same power set as Maxwell Lord, so, mind control stuff. And it turns out it's his daughter, which Maxwell Lord has kind of teamed up with Wonder Woman to sort of figure out who's been using his tech. Surprise, it's your daughter. We knew that last issue. One thing I will say about this issue that is kind of amazing, the issue was great, was not bored at all. Not one single second. The art was amazing. This is how a Wonder Woman comic should feel. What I will say is seeing Maxwell Lord as a good guy is so weird. Like at one point in this issue, someone tries to kill him with a gun and, he doesn't die, but he says, wow, somebody with such a terrible shot that thinks they're a dog. Because he just can't get over being the bad guy, even when he's trying to be a good guy. So I loved it. I had a great time with this issue of Wonder Woman. This is a great form for a Wonder Woman. Keep coming with these books. You do get a first appearance. Again, though, completely, without a doubt, hate the name Liar Liar. Come up with a better name for this character. That's just stupid.
The 1990s Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that sucked. The last book on our list, hi Fletcher, by the way, is Joker Harley, Criminal Sanity. This is Kami Garcia, Miko Suyan, Jason Badower, Annette Kwok, and this is issue number 5. Now, I have been the most critical of this series because, well, it's a pretty boy version of the Joker that I don't much care for, to me. And this is Harley sort of being a well, she's a detective, which is a different sort of role from psychiatrist. But I will say there are a lot of people that love this series, and I can kind of see why. The art is just so good. Amazing art. The story, well, okay, once you see past the pretty boy Joker, it is kind of fun. It's not a Joker that we're normally used to. I mean, he's not like using chemicals and gas to like he's like legitimately stuffing like things in the mouth to make them smile after he's killed them, which again is weird. It's not the Agent of Chaos theme, it's a serial killer theme. So it's yeah. But again, Black Label, it's not mainline universe. It's they're allowed to get weird with this sort of stuff, and I wasn't bored with this issue. I had no issues with the writing. I don't think I liked the earlier stuff, like issues 1 and 2. Not my jam. This one in particular, I was hooked from start to finish. So good job, guys. That was actually a really good showing. And again, we'll have this here if you want to come pick it up. And that, I think, is our show for this week. We don't need another show. We got both our DC and Marvel comics in at the same time because we made a deal with the devil. Yeah. I'm gambling on Constantine saving my soul. Yeah. I was just going to bribe him with some booze. Anyways, that's really our show for this week. We have, again, big reminder, we have a Mandalorian actor coming into our store on Thursday. Don't get too close to me. Well, I've got my mask off. So Thursday, we are going to have that here. We will be taking COVID precautions. I will be wearing a mask the whole time. But yeah, we will have COVID precautions. What is this?
They're re-releasing The Walking Dead in color.
Oh, nice. So The Walking Dead in color come October. So yeah, so Thursday, his name's Dominic Pace. He played a character named Gecko, and it will start at 3 p.m. We will be letting pull list subscribers, we will be pushing them to the front of the line. So if you're a subscriber and you come in for the pull list, you will go first, guaranteed. Everyone else can wait because you guys kept us afloat during COVID. If you are a pull list subscriber who has not picked up their books, back of the line. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, so we'll see you guys Thursday. Alex will be there. So yeah, we'll see you guys Thursday, and that's our show for this week. We love you guys. Yogi, do the dance. And